Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for the accusative case, which is used with direct objects. Remember I talked at the end of the last lesson, I talked about the shuba and why it's the shubu, and I said that has to do with cases, which we haven't covered yet. Well, now it's time. Now we pick up right where we left off, and it's time to talk about cases. If you are not familiar with the concept of cases in language, I don't want to get too much into this right here, right now, because it's not something specific to Russian, and actually, it is something that exists in English as well. People say that English doesn't have cases. That's not really true. English has cases, it just doesn't have them in as strong or as evident a form as most other major European languages. Basically, a case is the difference between saying I and saying me. What's the difference between I and me? Well, English has two main cases. One is where something is the actor, something doing an action, and the other case is where that thing is being acted on. So, for example, if you say, I I see him. Who is acting? Who's doing the verb? I am. That's why I say I and not me. I am doing the seeing, and so I am what's linguistically called the subject of the message. I'm the subject of the message because I'm doing the action. And who is the object? The guy whom I'm seeing. He is the object because I am seeing him. So I see him means I am the subject, he is the object. The inverse is if I say he sees me. He is now doing the action, so he becomes the subject of that sentence, and then me, I'm then the object of that sentence. So I don't say I say me. So I say I when I'm doing something, I say me when something's being done to me. I do this, I do that, I see the man, uh, I pet the dog. But if something happens to me, then I say me. So the person sees me, the dog pets me, something like that. I hope you get the idea. So in English, it's relatively straightforward. In English, it's pretty simple. It's just basically are you, or not just necessarily you, but is the object in question, is the noun in question, is it doing the verb or is the verb acting on that thing? And so in English, you just have subject and object. It's pretty easy. Other languages have several different cases depending on what the verb is and how the verb takes place. So Russian, as most Slavic languages, has 6 cases. Actually, it's not even clear if it has 6 cases. Some people might argue it has 7 cases, depending on how you consider. There's kind of a special form of 1 or 2 cases, which might be arguably considered another case. But I think generally speaking, Russian is considered to have 6 cases. And the most basic case is the nominative case, which I think we've talked about before. Actually, if we go back and look at the lessons, I think we did mention the nominative case, and I didn't talk about it at the time because yeah, here we go. Adjectives in the nominative case. So the nominative case is usually the simplest one. This is the basic one. This is where the object in question is the subject of the sentence. So again, I do this, I do that, he does this, he does that, she does this, she does that. If the thing in question is the main focus of the sentence, then you use the nominative case, and that's the easiest usually. Now it gets into the accusative case because now things are going to be acted upon. For example, the sentence, Я люблю тебя. I love you. Я, I am the subject of this sentence, and I'm doing something to you. I'm loving you. So you are not ты, as you would be if you were the subject of the sentence. Instead, you're тебя. Ты is the nominative form, and тебя becomes the accusative form. You can also say ты любишь, you love, if you're doing the loving, but in this case, I'm doing the loving, and you're the object. Linguistically, you're the object. You're receiving the love, and so you become not ты, but тебя. So in this lesson, you learn about accusative case and say things like what we just talked about. Papa любит маму. So mama is mom, mama, and that mama is the the basic case, like the nominative case. But because mama in this case is being acted upon, Papa is doing a verb to her, he is loving mama, then mama is no longer the subject but the object of the sentence, and so she becomes not mama but mamu. And similarly, there's and ana for he and she, but on znayet yeyo, he knows her, perhaps in the biblical sense, and so ana becomes yeyo because she is being acted upon by the verb knows. He is doing the verb, he is doing the knowing, and she is the object, she is being known. So she's not doing anything in this sentence, she is being acted upon by the verb znayet, and so she is in the accusative case, what we call the direct object, because she is being directly acted on by this verb. So let's see how this goes. This can get a bit tricky. Again, if you have never really studied or worked with the concept of cases before, Russian might not be the best language to start off this with, because Russian, again, has 6 cases, which is quite a lot compared to English. English is basically 3 cases. The third one is the genitive case, which is like his and her for possessives. Like that's my car, that's his car. That's basically the third case in English. And that's it. Those are the 3 cases in English. If you have any interest in studying the German language, German may be useful as an intermediate step because German has 4 cases, and so that sort of forms a bridge into Russian, and Russian has basically the 4 cases in German plus a couple more. So German, I do happen to speak German, and so for me, that is a benefit in my case because that does form a bridge for me to the Russian cases. If you're really set on learning Russian, then okay, then study Russian. But if you want another language which has simpler cases, then I think German might be a good intermediary stage because German kind of gives you a stronger sense of cases and how cases work. But hey, we're here to learn Russian, so let's go ahead and get started and see how we fare. I think it's not that bad. I mean, cases aren't that bad once you get used to them. And like I said, they do exist in English because it's the difference between I and me. It's the difference between he and him. It's the difference between she and her. But we are not used to thinking of it in languages because they're not that prevalent in English. If you're a native English speaker, then you're not that used to thinking in cases because it doesn't apply to most things except for simple pronouns like I, he, she, me, her, him. So anyway, let's go ahead and listen to the dialogue and see where this goes. So, officiant is the waiter.
Здравствуйте, вот меню.
Здравствуйте, вот меню. Here is the menu.
Что вы будете?
Literally, it's kind of a funny Russian translation. Literally, what will you be? In Russian, this is the usual way of saying when you're in a restaurant and you're ordering something, you say, "Я буду," I will be. I will be the soup. Obviously, in English, you'd say, I'll have the soup, or I will order the soup. But in Russian, you just say, I will be the soup.
Минутку. Так, я буду греческий
Okay, hold on. Let's try not to get too far behind.
салат
Okay, я буду греческий салат, Greek salad.
и овощную лазанью.
Okay, something lasagna. Avoshnu, that's vegetables, isn't it? Yes, vegetable. Thank you. Avoshnu lasagna, vegetable lasagna. Notice already we're already seeing the beginnings again of the accusative case here. She is she's being, but okay, she's performing a verb on the lasagna, and so even though it's lasagna, it ends here with you. It's lasagnu, and also the adjective also has to agree with it. Then it's avashnu, not ovochnaya lasagna, but ovochnyu lasagnu, because it's in the accusative case. So we're already seeing how the case changes the ending of the adjective and of the noun. This is also a bit different from German. Again, I don't want to talk about German too much because this is obviously not a German lesson, but in German this is a bit easier because the noun usually doesn't change in German. Usually the noun is the same regardless of the case. In German what changes is the adjective. So the adjectives in German are tricky. They do change with the case, but the nouns do not. In Russian both change. The adjectives and the nouns both change in Russian with the case. So you have to understand how both work in the different cases.
А я хочу салат «Цезарь».
Я хочу салат Caesar. Caesar salad.
Куриный.
Kurini. Kurini. What's kurini? Is that Kurini is chicken as an adjective, so I guess Caesar salad with chicken in it.
Потом пасту.
Потом пасту. Okay, and after that pasta. This gentleman is very hungry. He's having a Caesar salad with chicken and then after that pasta on top of that.
Какую пасту?
Which pasta? And notice also, again, pasta is, does it have it here in the vocabulary? Well, yes, it does. Pasta ends with an A. It's a feminine noun. But here he says pastu because he wants to have the pasta. So again, the pasta is the object here that's being acted on. And similarly, when the waiter asks, what pasta? He doesn't say какая pasta, because that would be the nominative form. He's saying, what pasta will you have? The pasta is the object of the linguistic case, and so it's какаю пасту.
Ну, давайте фетучини и вино.
Okay, so he wants fettuccine y vino, and wine.
Какое вино вы хотите?
Which wine do you want?
Я хочу красное вино.
Я хочу красное вино.
Французское, итальянское?
You want French or Italian?
Давайте итальянское вино.
Let's go with Italian wine. Okay, and that was that. Well, let's listen to the end.
Хорошо. Вы заказали греческий салат, салат «Цезарь» куриный, овощную лазанью, пасту фетучини и итальянское красное вино.
So here the waiter is listing their order, just summing up what they ordered.
Да, все правильно.
Yes, everything is correct. Okay, good. All right. And here we come again to a shuba, which is now a shubu because it's, again, being acted on by a verb, so it becomes the accusative case. So let's listen to the dialogue that we can play here.
Ой, какая красивая шуба. Можно?
Пожалуйста.
Ну как? Красивая шуба.
Ну, я не знаю.
Это очень красивая шуба. И жена ваша очень красивая.
Я хочу эту шубу.
Одну минуту, дорогая.
Я хочу эту шубу.
Эту шубу.
Да, эту шубу.
Вы знаете, я думаю...
Не нравится?
Ну, не очень. Я думаю, что шубы — это не ваш стиль.
Да?
Да, дорогая.
Okay, so the woman is set on having this shuba, and the I guess her husband is kind of nonplussed by this idea, and he doesn't like it, but the salesman says, no, the shuba is great. So, the woman wants which shuba, or shubu? Since she wants it, her act of wanting it transforms it into the accusative case, so it's a shubu, and also the adjectives all end in "u" to agree with that. So, does she want a new shuba, a beautiful shuba, or a dishuv? What is dishuv? Yeah, of course it's not here. I don't think it was one of those, since I don't think it came up in the conversation, but let's go ahead, since I'm curious. Let's see, what is dish? Дешевую. Oh, cheap or inexpensive. Okay. Pretty sure it's not cheap or inexpensive. Oh, and it's not red either. Красивый is beautiful. Красный is red. So I don't, well, judging by the picture, did they mention the color? I didn't catch the color in the dialogue, but based on the picture at least, it doesn't look red. So it's not a red fur coat. Okay, so it's a new fur coat. That's the only option then that fits. Это очень... It's a very something shuba. Here, now the shuba is in the nominative case, so it ends with the normal ending of a, because the shuba is the subject of this sentence. It is. Is also a verb. Keep in mind that there's no Russian verb that corresponds directly to is in English or other languages, but if you're saying это, it is, that's basically equivalent to that. It basically generally means then that that's the subject of the sentence, and so you describe it using the nominative case. Anyway, what is the shuba? Is it sinya? Is it blue? Remember colors? That sinya was that darker blue color. Is it malenki? Is it small? Or is it дорогая, expensive? Pretty sure it's expensive, and that's why the husband is objecting to the fur coat. So I'll say дорогая. Okay. Муж не хочет. Man does not want. Man does not want эту дорогую шубу. All three of these words end in u to agree with the accusative case in the feminine object. So it's not это, it's эту дорогую шубу. So he doesn't want this expensive shubo. He does not want to watch football, or he does not want to drink beer in a bar. Well, again, if we're going by typical gender stereotypes, he probably wants to do the last two things, but he does not want the expensive shuba. Okay, and продавец хочет... The sales guy wants money, the shuba, or the woman. He did mention in the middle of the dialogue, if I'm not mistaken, he said, the fur coat is very beautiful and the woman is very beautiful too. So he is complimenting the woman's looks, but I don't think that he really wants the woman. I think he's just saying that as a sales guy. Well, who knows, maybe the woman is very pretty, but in any case, I think the point is that he wants the money that the fur coat would cost because, well, he's a sales guy. So I'm going to say деньги, yes. Okay, that was all correct. Well, technically... Well, okay. It depends on the store. In many stores, salespeople get commission, which means that if they sell something, they get a cut of the sales. But then there are many stores where salespeople do not get commission, and they get paid the same regardless of what they sell or don't sell. So kind of depends on the store. But this is probably a commission-based store where the sales guy will get a cut of the sale if he sells the fur coat to this lady, and so he wants the money from the sale. All right. Here we go. Now we see a nice little explanation. It would be nice, well, I guess I can understand why they do it. I was going to say it would be nice if they started off with this explanation before they give you examples, but I guess they're going with the approach that it's a little bit more lucid, a little bit more intuitive if you first see a couple of examples of how it works, and then they explain why it works that way. I don't know. Personally, I think that it might work out a little bit better if first you would see this to explain to you what is the difference, why is it sometimes nominative and why is it sometimes accusative, and then you'd see the examples so you could understand how the examples are working. But oh well, I explained it at the beginning, so hopefully you understood a bit. But yeah, nominative is basically, yes, when it's the subject of the sentence, when it is a house. Это дом, it's a house, or the house. And so the endings that we've already learned apply to subjects of sentences. Это интересный фильм. This is masculine, so interesting film. Это темное пиво. Neutral, dark beer. Это красное вино. Again, neutral, it is red wine. But now, what if you're no longer just saying это, it is, but now the subject becomes an object because it's being acted on by a verb. Again, here we're seeing the difference now between I and me, between he and him. So, я вижу дом. Okay, in this case, for the verb dom, the verb doesn't change, but the dom is now in a different case. You can't really tell because the word dom doesn't change in the sentence, but if you say, I see he, does that make sense? No, it does not. You say, I see him. You're acting on him now because you have a verb that's doing something to him. He's being seen by you. So I see him, not I see he. And we can see, yeah, it doesn't really change the ending for masculine. Actually, it's... Okay, here we go. Remember, inanimate objects, masculine and neuter, do not change their form. Okay, so here it's a little bit hard to tell the difference between what's here on the left and what's here on the right, because the first noun here, film, is masculine, and then piva and vina are both neutral, so you don't see any difference here. Inanimate objects, masculine and neuter, do not change their form. But here, for ana, for female nouns, this is important now. Female nouns do change their ending in the accusative case. Это моя семья, it's my family, but now, я люблю мою семью. Again, here I'm doing something to the family. I'm loving something to. I'm loving the family. Linguistically, love is a verb in this case. Love can also be a noun, but in this case, we're using love as a verb. I love my family, and so because linguistically I'm doing something to the family, I'm loving them, it becomes мою семью. Similarly, я вижу красивую девушку. So девушка becomes девушку, and работа becomes работу. Это новая работа, it's new work. Я ищу новую работу. I go to new work. So yes, notice the endings. Ending of a noun that ends in a, it becomes u, and if it ends in ya, it becomes you. And then for adjectives, if the adjective ends in aya, then it becomes uyu, and if it ends in ya, then it becomes you. Which you don't see very often, thankfully. Okay. Смотрите таблу... yes. Look at the table above and complete the words with the correct endings. Use the answer key. Remember that we are practicing singular. So there is also another form for plurals, but don't worry too much about that right now. We are just doing the singular forms right now, so it's not too bad. This is actually not too bad. Only the feminine form changes here, which is interesting. In German, only the male masculine form changes in the accusative case. In Russian, only the female form changes. And you can see if you click on full here, actually you can see a fuller list. So это я, это мама, yeah, they are both subjects, but here люблю маму. Mama is an object of my love, and therefore it's used in accusative. So yeah. Just trying to see if there's anything really. Is there really anything? Yeah, there's nothing really special here that I want to bring out now. This is good to maybe read through a bit. Again, you don't need to memorize all of this right now. This is good to maybe take a quick look through just so you kind of get an idea. But don't sweat it too much if yeah, don't worry about it too much if you don't understand every single thing here. If you don't memorize, you don't have to memorize every single thing here right now. Don't sweat it. Let's just go on and try to fill in some of these blanks. So, это мой дом, я люблю мой дом. Dom is masculine, does not change. Это моя мама. Okay, we already saw mama is obviously feminine, so now it becomes люблю мой. So becomes у. Я люблю мою. Sorry, that's wrong. Where is... oh, for some reason, somehow I switched to English letters from Russian. There we go. Мою маму. That's correct, isn't it? If we come back here. Yeah. Я люблю маму. Looks good. Okay. Я хочу pizza. Pizza is, it obviously ends in an A, so it's also feminine. So it works the same way then. Я хочу большую пиццу. Seems reasonable, I think. Мы смотрим интерес. Film is masculine, so it doesn't change. It's just the same ending as always. And we can check. Sorry, it's not just that. It's I can't. It's just a picture, but it's not just it's not that. Like that. Интересный film. Okay. Student. This is probably feminine then, because a male student would just be student. I believe this, a new male student would just be a student if I'm not mistaken. So because they have the K here, that then suggests that it's the feminine studentka. And who knows the new student? Well, the new student is being acted upon then by a verb. The student is not doing something. They are the object because they are being known by the verb. So it's кто знает новую студентку. I believe that's correct again. If I'm wrong, then okay, we'll come back to it later. Mark nie любит Okay. Vino is neuter. So we just put in the usual O-E, if I can find the correct letters. Krasnoye vino on любит. Let's copy and paste that here. So krasnoye vino on любит белое vino. So he likes red wine, he likes white wine. So he likes both. Люди ждут okay. Good. Year is masculine, so Новый год. Люди ждут. So that's celebrate. Let's see. It's probably people celebrate the new year, but let me just see. Does ждут show up here? No, it does not. Жить shows up to live. I believe ждут should be celebrate, but let me just quickly check that. Ждут. Oh, no, it's wait for or expect. Okay, people are waiting for the new year. Okay. Что вы будете? What will you be? Again, in a restaurant, this would mean what will you order? Я буду греческий салат. Salat is masculine, and so we just take this same standard masculine adjective ending. И обожнюю, we talked about this before, lasagna, because it ends in A, is feminine. So because it's now the object of the sentence, it's обожнюю lasagna. Oh, wait. Hold on. That's wrong because it's not lasagna, it's lasagna. So ya becomes not u, but you. So it's not обожнюю, it's обожнюю lasagna. Because again, it's lasagna, not lasagna. Okay. Ты знаешь... Okay, девушка is obviously feminine, so ты знаешь эту девушку? Do you know this girl? Нет, я не знаю ее. No, I don't know her. Natalia хочет красив... Okay, again, a shuba. Shuba is obviously feminine because it ends in A, so she wants a красивую шубу. Are you starting to get the hang of it? I hope this is making more sense now. I hope that we're getting used to this, because again, it's only the feminine things. Feminine things that end in a become u. Feminine things that end in ya become you. Everything else stays the same. So, утром Андрей пьет okay, кофе. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this at least once before. Кофе is a special case. The ending looks like it should be neuter, but it's actually masculine. So we take the masculine ending. Черное кофе есть бутерброд. Okay, бутерброд ends in a consonant. It is also masculine. ест горячий бутерброд and eats hot sandwich. Вчера вечером, so this seems like it's redundant, but it literally means yesterday evening. So that's yesterday and that's evening, so last night. Вчера вечером друзья слушали концерт в клубе. Okay, концерт is, it ends in a consonant, it is masculine, so it should be хороший концерт в клубе. Дети очень любят вкусное... вкусное мороженое. Based on the ending, I'm pretty sure this should be... Вкусное means tasty. I don't know what мороженое is. Do we have this here? No, we do not. Well, okay, I'm going to guess that it's something to eat. Since it's tasty, it says children really love tasty мороженое. Oh, ice cream. Yes. And that's true. Children do love tasty ice cream, or at least most of them. Perhaps there are some children who don't, but I would say the majority of children probably do. Steven уже читал. Okay, so Stephen already read this new book. Kniga is correct, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's... we don't see... Or is it... I'm actually... I think it's kniga, but you know what? I'm not 100% sure now because I usually see this... Yeah, it is kniga. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, kniga, so since it's feminine, then in this case, since it's accusative, because he read the book, Stephen already read this new book, then it should be etu aha. No, it's not nova, it's novaya. So this is tricky. That, well, not really tricky, but if an adjective ends in aya, then it should, in accusative case, it becomes u, and then книгу is the noun. So Стивен уже читал эту новую книгу. And finally, Ирина никогда не смотрела русский классический балет. Okay, Irina, this sounds like a double negative. We haven't covered this yet. We'll come to this probably much later, but in Russian, the double negative is correct. This is the usual way to say it. Irina never not watched. In English, if you say, I never watched no ballet, that sounds like very poor grammar. That sounds like a grammatical mistake. But no, in Russian, it's actually correct. You say never not. Irina never not watched Russian ballet, Russian classical ballet. So that means she never watched Russian classical ballet. And ballet is, it ends in a T, so it should be masculine. So again, I'll just copy and paste this masculine ending here. Русский классический балет. And oh no, I got something wrong. I guess I'm not really surprised, even though I was so careful. I was so careful with everything. How would I get something wrong? Okay, but I guess I'm not really surprised. This is a kind of a tricky subject matter sometimes. So, okay, right at the top here, I made a mistake. It's not mamu, it's moyu, duh. Whoops. How do I push the correct keys? Okay, that's moyu mamu. So this is now correct, I'm pretty sure, but I'm still... Oh, I made this mistake several times. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I apologize if people have been taking notes and suddenly realized that I've been saying the wrong thing all along, because I actually got several of these wrong. Yeah, it's for the nominative case, this would not be bolsha, but bolshaya. So then, of course, the correct answer here is not bolshu, but bolshuyu. And same thing here. This is not novu, but novoyu studentku. Okay, this is now correct, I believe. Интересный film, yes, that should be correct. Новую студентку, yes, that should be correct. Красное вино, белое вино, that should be correct. Good, that should be correct. Let's see. Okay, here again, because of this, the adjective is красивую. And what else? Yeah, same here. Ovochnyu, the vegetable in this case is an adjective. It's vegetable lasagna, so it's not ovochnyu, it's ovochnyu lasagna. Oh, and why is... It's interesting. This may be because... hold on. I can't explain why. I guess either we didn't talk about this or I somehow missed it. But this греческий salad is not spelled with this li, but rather with an e. Not that. Yes, that. So it's греческий салат и овощную лазанью. Okay. Ты знаешь эту девушку? That looks correct. Красивую шубу? That looks correct. Черный? Yeah, I think that's correct. Is this also, same thing here. I think this has to do with the character here. It probably has to do with the fact that this comes after a ch and that comes after a k. I should know this, but I apologize. Obviously, I don't. This is not горячие, it's горячий. Бутерброд, like that. And same thing here. It's not хороший концерт, it's хороший концерт. Вкусное, that looks correct. Эту новую книгу, that looks correct. And then... Yeah, and same thing here with ballet. It's not I, it's E like this. We put that here and that there. Okay, now it's correct. I wish I could explain off the top of my head why sometimes you use I and sometimes you use E. It does... I guess it does depend on the noun, but I can't explain momentarily why that is. Okay, again, if anyone wants to... Let's see, let me just quickly... There should be something on it here then, right? I'm looking here if there's anything about this, because it should... There should be an explanation for it somewhere here. I don't see one here. Okay, again, I apologize. I'm a bit ashamed that I can't explain this, but anyway, these are the correct answers. At least I can tell you, these are the correct answers. I can't explain momentarily why, but perhaps we'll come back to this theme later. Let's move on for now. I don't want to dwell on it too long since I can't say anything to that subject anyhow. Okay, number 4. Personal pronouns in the accusative case and sentence. Use the on-screen key. Okay, so this is just about pronouns, I guess. This should be pretty straightforward since we have right up here, we have a list of how pronouns change in the accusative case. So remember we said if you say I love you, it's я люблю тебя. If you say you love someone, then it's ты любишь, that you love someone. But if you are being loved, if you're the object of the sentence, then you're тебя. And we've seen this other stuff before. Он becomes его, она becomes ее, мы из нас, вы из вас, and они из их. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Это мой брат, я люблю его. I love him. So, его. Okay? Это наша сестра. Мы любим, we love her. Ее. Okay, we love ее. Кто она? Я не знаю. Again, it should be ее because она is she. Who is she? I don't know her. Я не знаю. Where's E? Duh, E is up there. Я не знаю ее. Again, just as in English. Who is she? I don't know her. Difference between she and her. Скажи мне, а ты любишь... tell me, do you love... Well, this could be anyone. I guess... I'm going to guess that we should assume the asker is asking, do you love me? But they could just as easily be saying, do you love him? Do you love her? Do you love them? But okay, let's go ahead and assume that they're saying, do you love me? In which case it's меня. Ты любишь меня? Where's M? There's M. Меня. Okay. Это журнал. Я читаю. Okay, журнал should be masculine because it ends in a consonant L. So, я читаю его. I read him. I read him a lot. Это интересный фильм. Film is also masculine, so я уже смотрел его. I already watched him. Это новые студенты. Кто знает this? Oh, this is plural. Studently, it's the students. So who knows them? So it's ich. Who knows them is ich. There we go. Кто знает их? Это ваша жена? Is it your wife? Я знаю. Okay, I know her. I know your wife. So я знаю ее. Я знаю ее. And finally, это черный чай. Я не люблю. Chai is masculine, I believe, isn't it? Pretty sure it's masculine, so that should be его. Okay, there we go. Everything right on the first try. Not too bad. All right, and finally, well, not finally. We have a couple of things to do here. We have not a dialogue. Yes, it is a dialogue. Okay, this is a dialogue with no tasks, but I'm going to guess that, yeah, okay, so we have a dialogue which itself has no tasks, but then it's associated with task 6 down here. So let's go ahead and quickly listen and read.
Привет, Саймон. Как ты? Как твои дела на работе? Как дома? У меня все нормально. Работаю, отдыхаю, гуляю. Вчера видел Красную площадь и Кремль. Мне понравилось. Еще ел в ресторане красную икру и блины. Пил водку. Как русский. Здесь уже холодно, и я купил теплую шапку на Арбате. Мои коллеги говорят, что это солдатская шапка, а мне нравится. Еще купил первую русскую книгу. Она называется «Идиот». Ее автор – Достоевский. Я читаю, но ничего не понимаю. Но у меня еще есть время. Давай, не забывай меня, Джон.
Okay, I said it was a dialogue, but I was wrong. It's actually a letter. It's a letter from John to Simon. Is this the same John? I get the feeling that we've seen John before. I think we saw him a couple lessons ago writing letters to his mother and his friend Simon about his life in Moscow. Anyway, so let's try and translate the important parts. Hi, Simon. How are you? How is it going? How are you doing at work? Как дома? How's the house? With me, everything is normal. Work, relax. Гуляю. What's... I'm going to guess гуляю doesn't show up here. Oh, it does. Гулять is to walk. Okay, fine. So, work, relax, walk. Yesterday, I walked on the nice... Krasная площадь, Red Square. Yesterday I walked on or I saw Red Square and the Kremlin. Мне понравилось. What's понравилось? Doesn't appear to be here. Okay, I'm going to skip over that just for now, because I don't want to take too much time with this. Еще ел в ресторане красную икру и блины. Okay, so then in the restaurant, the red икру. Okay, something about pancakes and drank vodka. Like a Russian. Here it's already cold, and I bought a hat on Arbaty. Arbaty is again that shopping street, that main drag in Moscow. My colleagues say that it's a soldier's hat, but I like it. Already bought my first Russian book. It's called Idiot. Because book is feminine, so her author is Dostoevsky. And yes, Idiot, the Idiot, is one of Dostoevsky's most famous books. Probably, I don't know why, I actually didn't like it as much as Crime and Punishment and The Brothers Karamazov, but Idiot is a much more personal and I think a much less structured book. Maybe that's why I didn't like it, and it's probably also why some other people like it. Anyway, yes, one of the most famous books by Dostoevsky. I read, but don't understand anything. Again, ничего не понимаю, nothing not understand. If you said in English, I don't understand nothing, that would sound very bad, but in Russian, ничего не понимаю, nothing not understand is normal. Но у меня еще есть время, but I still have time. Okay, bye. John. Don't something me. Забывай. What's забывай? I'm gonna guess it means, yes, I guess correctly, to forget. So, bye, don't forget me, John. Okay, let's go ahead and answer the questions about John and his adventures in Moscow. John works, relaxes, and walks. Sleeps, eats, and drinks. Reads, writes, and works. I'm going to guess he does all of these things. I mean, obviously he says he read the book, and obviously he wrote this letter, so he must be writing, and he does say that he works, so obviously this is correct. I'm going to assume that like any human being, he sleeps, eats, and drinks, but obviously the correct answer is the one that he mentioned in his letter, which is to say he works, relaxes, and walks. Okay. He went, or he saw, Vidal is, I think that's saw. For some reason I want to say he went to, or walked on, but I think that's wrong. Vidal is saw, isn't it? Let me just quickly check, just so I don't get even more confused. Yes, saw. So he saw Arbat и Trevskую улицу. These are streets, I guess. Lubyanku и Marse. No, he didn't mention anything about that. No, he talked about seeing Red Square and the Kremlin. Krasная площадь и Кремль. Okay, John ate in the restaurant pizza and pasta, salad and soup, or pancakes and krasny ikru. What's ikru? It's a food, but I don't know what. Ikru. Oh, caviar. It's not a word I'm very familiar with because I don't eat caviar myself, but one thing you should know if you don't already, if you go to Russia, one thing you probably should know is Russians eat a lot of caviar. In the West, of course, it's considered a luxury item, like a delicacy. In Russia, Russian people eat caviar quite regularly. It's actually considered a normal food like a standard food for normal people. It's not considered some kind of luxury. Anyway, yeah, he did mention that he ate blini. Yeah, krasny ikru и blini. So red caviar and pancakes. Here he reverses it and says blini и krasny ikru, but same thing. Еще он пил vodku. So here we have vodka, water, and beer. He has already drunk vodka. like a Russian. Здесь холодно, here it's cold. И John купил a шапку. So шарф is, I believe, a scarf. Шарф is scarf. Шапку is a cap or a hat, and then шаль is, does that show up here? No, it does not. What is a шаль? I believe it's also an item of clothing. It sounds like a shawl in English, but let's. Yes, it is exactly. It's a shawl, like a something you like a kind of like a scarf, I guess, that you wrap around yourself. Something mostly for women, I think. But he bought himself a shapku, and you can see in the picture he's in this very stereotypical sort of Russian shapka ushanka, the hat with these ear flaps on the sides. So he bought a shapku. Он купил книгу Idiot. So the three books here are Война и мир, War and Peace. Iliada, the Iliad, which is obviously not a Russian book, that is a Greek epic, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it Roman? You see how little culture Americans have. I don't know if the Iliad is Greek or Roman. I thought at first that it's Greek, but now I'm questioning that because I'm not 100% sure about that, because it's not... It's by Homer, isn't it? Yeah, it's Homer's Iliad. It has to be Greek. Let me just quickly check, just so that I don't... it's obviously nothing to do with the lesson, but I don't want to be sitting here like an idiot saying, "Oh, Iliad is Greek if it's not Greek." Yes, of course, it's yes, it is by Homer. So yes, of course, it's the same guy who wrote the Odyssey. Yes, of course, it's Greek. And then Idiot, the book by Dostoevsky. So yes, he bought the book Idiot. And finally, John reads and everything understands. So reads and understands everything. Reads but doesn't understand anything, or doesn't read but understands everything. Yes, I didn't read the book, but I understood all of it anyway. No, as he mentioned, he reads but doesn't understand anything. All right, there we go. That was the extent of that. Okay, and yeah, finally we have... Hopefully this is a little bit easier. I think this is kind of like a cool down exercise at the end for us to relax a little bit and take it a little bit easier after what may have been a somewhat demanding lesson. Я люблю тебя. Again, I love you. And we just have to fill in the correct form of ты. So, well, я люблю... Okay, I think we can manage this one. Я люблю тебя. Я люблю твою форму. I love your form. Твой интеллект. Your intellect. Я люблю, когда мы вместе. I love it when we are together. И я говорю, а ты слушаешь. And I speak and you listen. Here it's just the nominative form ты, because here you are listening. So in this case, you are doing the verb. So you're the subject of this... not of this sentence, but of this clause of the sentence. You never sporish. Well, this is you. You're doing something, so it's ты. What is sporish? Let's see. What is... hold on, let me... I must look up this word because I'd like to know what sporish means. Sporish. Argue. You never argue. Не хочешь новую шубу. You do not want a new shuba, a new fur coat. Новый телефон или новую машину. Yes, I love you because you never argue, never want a new fur coat, new telephone, or a new car. Ah, true love. True is the love of a woman who never wants a new car. Ты всегда работаешь утром, днем, вечером. You always work morning, day, and evening. Okay, I think I have an idea of where this is going, but let's continue on. Когда я в офисе на работе, when I'm in the office at work, ты не звонишь каждые 15 минут и не спрашиваешь, где я. You do not call every 15 minutes and don't ask where I am. Когда я в баре пью пиво или смотрю футбол, when I'm in the bar and drink beer and watch football, ты тоже не звонишь. You also do not call. Ты, with a capital T, even though I don't think that it really matters. Ты знаешь, что потом мы будем вместе. You know that after that I will be together. Or we will be together. О, как я люблю тебя, мой новый компьютер. Yeah, I had an idea about when I got to this point where he says you always work morning, day, and evening, I kind of had the idea he wasn't talking about a human being anymore. I thought he was probably talking about some kind of device or machine. I saw that one coming. Okay, how I love тебя. Yeah. Okay, and that was that. Oh boy. I don't know how this lesson might have been for you folks. Again, if you're not used to cases, suddenly having to think about cases might be a bit of a shock. Because this is a linguistic concept that we don't really have in English. If you've learned about cases in another language, you're definitely ahead. You definitely have a good start on this. And the accusative case is pretty straightforward in terms of how it's conjugated because, as you see, it changes only for feminine nouns. So it only changes for maybe about 1/3, since you can have masculine, feminine, or neutral nouns in Russian. I guess it only changes for roughly about 1/3 of nouns in Russian. So it has a very regular form. It doesn't change for masculine and neutral nouns. You can use the same there. And then for feminine things, you just change the a to a u or the ya to a u, and that's it. Not too bad. Not really, I think not too demanding in terms of what you have to do with it. I think the other cases are somewhat more difficult. Obviously, we'll get to those later. But for now, this has been Lesson 10, learning about the accusative case. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope that this made some kind of sense. Hope that it wasn't too difficult for you, that it didn't break your brains too much. And again, we will see each other next time, hopefully, for the next video. So until then, thanks for watching, everyone. Я люблю тебя. And до свидания, and пока, and all the rest.